Food security remains a crucial goal for most countries. The current global pandemic has highlighted the need for countries to undertake measures to increase food security, especially for states where most of the food consumed is imported. With rising concerns of climate change and the impact on small island developing states, finding creative and more effective ways of producing food has become increasingly important. Looking at alternative meat sources other than the usual livestock and poultry production is one way to meet this seemingly elusive goal. One area that is proving to be attractive is rabbit production. What are the advantages of rabbit production? Rabbits grow fast, especially if fed well, reaching maturity at 5 months and slaughter weight at 3 months. They require less land space with diminishing land size, therefore can be kept at the backyard. They can derive their feed requirement entirely on greens only. They are prolific, as each doe is capable of reproducing 4 times a year, an average of 8 kits per kidling, among other factors. This video serves as an instructional tool to educate persons interested in pursuing rabbit production. We'll be looking at 3 main categories: what you need to get started, aspects of production, and hygiene and disease prevention. Before entering rabbit production, you must research the market to determine the size of operation and the breed of rabbits you wish to raise. Factors to consider include meat, laboratory, breeding stock, or wool. For backyard and home use, 1 doe and a buck is sufficient, however, for commercial production. Next, look at how and where you will house your rabbits.
First, you need to know your market and your size of operation as to what production system you're going to be using. So we look at our cages that can be used. And it is recommended, instead of going to the hard ways, that you can use things like pallet, that is the wooden structure that normally goods will be coming imported on, and you break that down and make your rabbit cages. Rabbit production should not be looking at in terms of capital investment, at any large investment. So you can look at pallets and start using pallets to make your cages. Normally the cages are the pens, the huts that rabbits are in, we call them hutches. And so we have different types of, most of these cages are what we use in St. Kitts. And we can also use this system, which is the wire system. But this system will have to be put under a shed so that it's protected from sun and rain. We would want to take note that the sides of the cage, the wire mesh for the sides of the cage can be 1 inch by 2 inch, but we must make sure that the flooring should be 1 inch by 1/2 inch. Reason for that is that we don't want the rabbit foot to go through the wire mesh. So the sides, while the sides can be a bit larger, the floor should be at least 1/2 inch by 1 inch wire mesh. Also, it is important to note that in some of the cages you can put in a piece of board. We find that from time to time, if the rabbit foot is injured in any such way, the wire, standing on the wire, can be very uncomfortable. So that is something that we have to look out for, so that the animal is very comfortable. And the spacing, because the rabbit is a very small animal, the height of the cage can be at least 2 feet, and the length 3 feet, and the width 3 feet. So it's 2 by 3 by 2. Okay, so you have already built your cage and you're going to buy your rabbit. Here's where record keeping is very important. You go to the farmer to buy your rabbit. You want to make sure that the rabbit that you're buying is coming from good parentage background. So you would like to know from the parent background how much litter that the doe have given, the size of the litter, and that sort of thing, because you really need to have good records to know your progeny that you're buying. Here we have a young rabbit with a litter size of 8. These are about 4 days old. Importantly, when you're going to put in your nest box, you want to put in your nest box at least 2 days before your rabbit is ready to kit, is ready to give birth. And again, here's where good record keeping is coming. Normally, you would want to set your record keeping and a given date. For example, the last day of the year, or and government payday. Government payday is a very good date to keep records in terms of giving birth. So you know fully well that the month is coming up. You bred your rabbit the beginning of the month. You know at the end of the month, because gestation period is 30 days. You know, you want to put in the nest box at least 2 days before the rabbit gives birth. And these are the type of nest boxes that you can use. The nest box should have room for the rabbit to get in and out, and at the same time enough room for the mother and the young ones. This is what the mother normally do to protect the young ones from the elements. She would pull fur at least a day before she gives birth. So she would prepare the nest box for birth. And if you would realize, look at all that motion underneath the fur, that is the young ones. You would also need at least 44 hours after birth. You can go in and check the nest box to make sure that you have there are no dead ones, because once they're dead ones, they'll start to deteriorate and start smelling. So you don't go in immediately, at least 48 hours after. You go in and you will check your fur to make sure that they're not dead ones.
Telling the gender of rabbits is very important in breeding and reproduction. Here's how to tell the difference.
For the female, you would eventually this is the vulva right here, so you look for the vulva. Also, to find out when they're in heat, or something you would see, it will be swollen and have a reddish, pinkish kind of outlook. So this one here right now is presently in heat, so I would take it to the buck, you know, to get it mated. What I also would do too is record the date. I would also record the date of when it mated, and then a month from that day, you should be expecting some babies. This is a young male, what we call a buck. If you look here now, you would see its penis prolongating. When taking a rabbit from the cage to a buck to do anything, any sort of demonstration, you first have to hold it by its back, and then you actually put your hand under its hind legs in order to brace the weight. Because sometimes the weight of the rabbit, sometimes you have to pull on the skin, and sometimes they have cut blood and everything and so in the back of them. So you actually have to brace it properly. Okay, what he would do, he would first initiate and start smelling her, and then he would get, and then she would eventually, okay, that's when he catch her. Yeah, when he falls off, yeah. Sometimes you could assist by rising up, like put your hand underneath her hind legs and help him, because sometimes they'll be a bit lazy.
Make sure you have a clean, adequate supply of water placed in a cool, shaded area, especially if the weather is hot.
What we have here is 2 different type water wells. We have the gallon, and we have the 500 ml. As you can see, how it operates. Each time the rabbit touch the ball, the water secluded is easy access, and when he stops, he shut off the water completely. Yeah, it's the same procedure. Yeah, once it touch, eventually thing. This is also the brace. You pin it on the wire. Let me just give a little demonstration of how you actually could thing it. You pin it here. You put it here. And you pin it down here. Then when you get it out, you just actually put it out and you just put it back in, fasten it in. This here is what you call, we recycle the water, the tree spans from the different stores and everything and so on. We just use that instead of purchasing the automatic waterers. It's always recommended that you use fresh water on a daily basis for the rabbit consumption to prevent bacteria build-up and any other disease that could contaminate the water and affect the rabbit. Because that too alone would affect production, it would affect the whole life cycle of the rabbit, and you don't really want that. So for fresh water on a daily basis would be ideal for the rabbit production. Also what we have here too is what you call sun blockers. You use a shade cloth because you don't want the rabbit to expose directly to too much sunlight because it would affect it. So this here is a 25%, you block out 25% of the sunlight. So at least you get ventilation from the small little pores and everything and so on, because your rabbit also need proper ventilation too. So this is a way of keeping out the direct sunlight from the cages, because if you look at the angle where the sun is hitting, early morning it hit this direction. So you get the stapling gun and you just cut out the shape and you just put the thing. We recycle the feed bags. So we actually use a preventative to block out sunlight and rain. So you don't want in the essence of wasting the food, because when the rain beating, it actually receives through some of the little crevices and it actually contaminate the food, make the food get. So the reason for the bag is to prevent the water from touching the feed and the feeder itself. You also keep them a little cleaner and everything and so too. It's the commercial feeder, the automatic, you would actually throw the food here. This is the opening where you throw the food. And as the rabbit feed, it takes gravity, it comes down according. This is also a bit rat proof and insect proof too, so when you cover it here, it seals it off from anything from the outside entering the thing. So it's just the rabbit, and where you have also the sifter, you have a sifter underneath to keep away all the dust, because you don't want the dust to go up in the nostrils or the nose of the rabbit. So when you knock it, you would actually see filter the dust and everything and so on that comes from the feed. So this here has the advantage. I mean, as you can see, the rabbit have access food, you have ample food that he could eat ad lib, he could eat whenever he want. But the disadvantage with that one, you know, you have to just train according to what he could eat, because you don't want it to go and maybe urinate or maybe like check the water and try it on the feed. So this here one is a more what you call commercial, is more better, because you could use this. Would actually, when you fill this will actually last the rabbit for about approximately 3 to 4 days, so you won't have to really go and feed it every day. What we have here is a locally made rabbit feeder. Consists of PVC pipe and white pine. The reason for the wire over the white pine is to prevent the rabbit from biting and chewing on the board itself. Since economics and everything and so on, it's recommended that the rabbit not just eat supplementary feed. They also require natural food, natural bushes and everything and so on to help in the digestion in terms of the fiber, because you have a high fiber content in the different plants. But what we have here is the wild tamarind. This is rich in protein too. We have the cabbage leaves. We also have the guinea grass, sweet potato vine, and here we have the commercial feed in terms of this is the rabbit feed. And this is the general purpose. This is a feed that could use for multiple feed, not just rabbit alone, but it could feed birds, rabbit, pigs. So you always have to keep this available just in case you don't have no rabbit food. In case farmers go to the department or go to wherever go buy rabbit food and they don't have, they could always ask for the general purpose feed. And what we have here, we call water grass, or some people call it French weed. This is very good in protein too. And it also helps to keep the rabbit, it keep the bladder and everything. It's like a flusher. Okay, and what we have here now is what we call the medication plant, the aloe vera. In terms of, for example, if I see a rabbit look a bit, because sometimes you have to monitor them on a daily basis. If you see a rabbit look a bit droopy, what you do, you normally would cut the aloe vera, and this yellow stuff here is what is like a natural antibiotic. I would actually like shake it off in the water and let the rabbit drink it. And sometimes I also would like break it off. So instead of using those commercial antibiotics and so on, you go natural. You can't be wrong going natural. In terms of feeding, it would take me approximately between 45 to 60 minutes. Because it comes such a routine now, it could even be more shorter. It depends on how, if the place is not rainy or anything and so on. It would take me an average 45 minutes to complete everything. Feed up, water up. In terms of water, it would take me 15 gallons of water per day. Per morning, because it's twice a day I give them water. So 15 in the morning and 15 in the afternoon, so 30 gallons a day. In terms of feed, in terms of supplementary feed, roughly about 40 pounds of feed per day. And with the grass and everything, I don't weigh them, but maybe about 2 or 3 bags of grass per day, you know, to help with the fiber and everything. And in terms of number of rabbit, is approximately 127 rabbits I have presently. An average one rabbit would give you approximately between 3 to 4 pound carcass. And the price for rabbit meat right now is going for between $17, $50 and $20 per pound. The one for the meat, I don't let them get too old, because when you let them get too old, the meat tend to get a bit coarse and tough. So you catch them at a young stage where it's tender and nice. So when you butcher it and everything, when you put it in your pot, you get enough compliments. People tell you, well, the rabbit meat will really soft and, you know, juicy and everything and so on. So the earlier you butcher it, the better it be for you.
Another important point is learn how to maximize earnings from rabbit production. Rabbits are kept for their meat, manure and fur.
The manure, what we normally do, like every morning is a routine. We actually would get the rake and wake up the manure and actually put it in these bags, these recycle bags, and we actually sell these to farmers as fertilizer, natural fertilizer. And the advantage of rabbit manure, it could place actually to the plant directly. You don't have to, as compared to fowl manure, the high ammonia content, it would actually burn the plant. But the rabbit manure is so ideal now that you could just incorporate it directly to the plants one time. So you don't have to, but some people still would go and maybe dry it out a bit, but you could actually put it directly to the plants. That's one advantage of the rabbit manure. So we normally bag it out and then take orders. People will come and take 5-10 bags at $10 each.
We hope that information in this video helped to inform you on all you need to know about rabbit production. For more information or support in rabbit production, call the St. Kitts Agriculture Department at 467-1841.